At times, our unconscious state of being overconfident. These are always reflected in our emotional disposition to our investments. And as Muslims, those have to be tempered, those have to be balanced, with ensuring that we are not only disciplined, we look at the intrinsic value, but of course, plan properly and also include prayer. Now, herding behavior, it's natural that where in the circumstance you find people whom you are in the midst doing certain things, you may also want to, to the extent that it's good, why not want to do that? But it is usually driven by, so you shouldn't be driven by social pressure that I'm the only one left behind. So it's called a bandwagon effect. So you just don't do that. There is a need for you to ask questions. Does it suit your tolerance level? Does it suit your kind of experience? Is it the kind of preference you have or you need as an investor? Then there are also biases that relate to information. The first one is cognitive dissonance. When people have some conceived idea or belief about certain things, once new information comes, they don't want to shift plans. So last time the investment was Sharia compliant, but based on how they have done things, it's now Sharia non compliant. If you look at the Securities Commission, how they do their screening, there is a quantitative aspect and there is a qualitative aspect, because the Sharia scholars also feel the pulse of people. Not everything will be captured in the financial report. At times, financial report is issued, when maybe after 3 months, 6 months that event has happened. So the point here is when somebody escalates, or this particular thing you are doing, I think I've heard somewhere that it's not Sharia compliant. You have to check. So cognitive dissonance would be such that such new information will be disregarded, by people. Or confirmation bias. If at all they want to ask, then they don't ask the scholars or the professionals that will tell them from a neutral point of view. They would rather go to that or to those that will tell them what they want to hear. So it's a kind of confirmation bias. And that also is seen amongst the Muslim investors. Then there is a representative bias, which has to do with the fact that we, at times we see a few persons who have been successful in certain things, and that we take as being representative of the whole. The point here is just to say that when it comes to information bias, it's either you don't have the information at all, or when you have it, it is inadequate, or when you even have it as adequate, your response to it is to underreact, not to find out what exactly you need to do. So as Muslims, information seeking is very, very important, because it's a deen that is predicated upon knowledge, and you can only ask from those who know. It may be technical knowledge, but most importantly, it also has to be the Islamic knowledge, because you are a Muslim person. Then there is this concept of illusion of control. At times people tend to overestimate their degree of control. They feel that due to their skills, due to the familiarity they have with that kind of investment, due to the information that they have, that things cannot go wrong, because for them, they see themselves as being in control. So these are people called DIY investors. They do everything themselves and things like that. Investment is not like that. Things are changing, and they are changing very, very fast. So it's said here that you have to stick to a well-crafted investment plan, and of course, maybe expertise limits. So you will not know everything. You still need to ask. But people have this illusion that it's my investment, I'm in charge, I know what is going on, and things like that. Then there's inside bias. Things would happen. We always say in finance, the most certain thing about the future is that the future itself is uncertain, because only Allah knows what will happen. But people at times, when that thing happens, instead of learning from it, they would feel like, I had this, this hunch that it was going to happen. People will talk about the global financial crisis, they will talk about COVID and how COVID was going to play out, which investment will get affected and things like that. But the truth of the matter is that it's just a form of bias, because those are new information, so investment would have to be revisited in light of the current circumstance that we have seen. Then anchoring bias is what we call relativity trap. When people have the tendency to rely so much on a particular price. It happens so much in stock investment. The price at which I bought this stock is 20 ringgit per share, for instance. So that is the anchor. So to the extent that it is not meeting 20 ringgit per share, then I still want to keep, either struggling and, ensuring that I'm still there holding the shares. Whereas, the indication, the fundamentals are indicating that it will never get there again. But people, once they set their mind to certain anchor, that is what drives them. And of course, another one is mental accounting. What this means is when you compartmentalize, your brain to look at the same amount, the same investment from a different point of view, depending on the source. So if I inherit some money from my father and I get my salary, if I invest both in the same business, the way I would treat my own aspect of contribution is different from the way I would treat the investment and the inheritance, because that to me is not something I've worked for. Or perhaps in stock analysis, you have what they call the capital gains because the price has appreciated, and you have the dividends. So at times, the way you treat both is different. Or you have some investment in equity, because in Mudaraba and Musharaka, you know very well that it's profit sharing, loss bearing, for example. But you also have the one in debt. The same amount, the same investment, but because they are from different sources, the way you compartmentalize is different. The point here is see all of them as portfolios rather than treating them separately, because success of one would have implications on the other. Framing effect even happens in the context of our even the way we do our sadaqah and things like that. If somebody frames a problem for you, the way you react is different. So at times, people frame it from the point of view of what returns it will get. Please do ask about the risk involved also, because at times you may just be carried away by the returns. And there is an outcome bias. People tend to decide only based on results. It's not. There is a process. Result does not come if there is no initial commitment, and as the case may be. And the last one I want to touch quickly is the familiarity bias. The tendency to favor familiar investment. I want to invest only in local stocks. I want to invest only in real estate. I want to invest only in KL and things like that, because I'm familiar with this area. But again, that does not allow for proper diversification, and it may have its own implication. So quickly, in the event of loss, because loss will happen at times, it's not compulsory that every business must result into profit. So the point here is that the person who is managing the investment, because you could have put resources together, the person must be honest and truthful in telling the people what really happened. There is no need to lie. In Islam, you say it the way it is, because it's a trust and a manner. And if there has been any negligence on the part of you as the investor, because they have put money together to give to you, then you must either replace what was lost through that negligence, or bear the loss, if it is something that you can't afford to. Then the owner of the capital must, in the case of loss, accept the will and decree of Allah. If, for instance, you put money in an investment and the person was not negligent, he has the duty of care and responsibility, but it turns out by Allah's design that something happens and it results in loss, then it says that we should accept and thank Allah for His rahmah, and that would give some reward. I think I've alluded to this earlier, but I'll just mention quickly that the Quran provides glad tidings for those who are patient. When they are afflicted with calamities, they say truly from Allah will come, and to Him we shall return. And why do people fall for investment fraud, gullibility? They just cannot ask questions. They tell them this is the answer. They don't ask what is the question. And at times they are very irrational, because they just don't pay too much care. They are at times attracted to the financial gain, not looking at the risk, or they feel special that I'm in a particular stage that this investment is befitting of my status, or perhaps they trust information that they have seen. So some of the red flags would be if there is a promise of high guaranteed returns. There is nothing like guaranteed returns, because in Islam there is a concept of risk and return. Then if they tell you this is a once in a lifetime deal, or everybody is buying it, you have to do it, and there is a pressure on you to buy, or perhaps there is an overly excessive returns. This thing should generate only 10 ringgit. Why is it generating 50 ringgit? So at times we should also ask this question. Or if those who are promoting the idea to you are avoiding questions, or they are not registered. So how do you avoid? Again, ask questions, make research, know the person who is introducing you to this, be watchful of unsolicited offers, and most importantly, watch your emotions, because at times we react based on emotions, and that would yield unintended consequences. Of course, most importantly, we repose our confidence in Allah, and in His rahmah, may He always keep us in His path and protect us from things that would harm us, and grant us barakah in all our efforts. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.